Okay, so we're here with Megan Murff, who is a mommy of two and founder and owner of Cahoots Fitness. So thanks so much, Megan.
It's
Thanks
a
for,
pleasure.
yeah, I'm excited to learn from you. So first, tell us about your family and your kids.
My oldest, Ella, is 3, and the youngest is 8 months old as of yesterday. Her name's Evelyn. She was a Christmas baby, which was fun. Never actually wanted a Christmas baby, but now we have one, and we're loving it. We're gonna love it, whether we want to or
Like
not.
on Christmas Day.
It's actually the 23rd,
Okay.
which is perfect because it gives us a little tiny buffer. Yeah, we live in Utah. I met my husband out in Washington. We're from Utah. We grew up in like 13, met in Washington D.C. because why not cross the country to meet each other and make it more exciting? Yeah, and we've been married 6 years next week.
Cool, cool. So that's your family. Tell us about your business. And we want to hear a little bit about the story, how it came to be.
Yeah, so Cahoots Fitness. Let's see if we back clear up. Before I did the MBA program at BYU, I was working in Washington D.C. for the Consumer Bankers Association, and one of the most fun and rewarding things I did for them was launching a youth entrepreneurship competition. It was actually a social entrepreneurship competition, so all the businesses had to have some kind of do good community building purpose behind them. And I was so inspired by these teenagers who were running these businesses and nonprofits, changing the world. And I was like, well, I want to do it too. Surely if kids can do it, I can do it too. But I didn't have any like starting a business background behind, and I'd had a dream of getting an MBA for years anyway. So I figured let's do that MBA like I've been working towards, and that'll give me some kind of business foundation education, and work to launch a socially innovative company. So through my MBA, I worked on a bunch of different startup ideas and scrapped them and start over and would scrap it again. But finally, like on my 4th time scrapping it, I was like, okay, let's hone in. What was the mission that I wanted to accomplish? You start there. I wanted to strengthen families. That was my main goal and purpose. So I started by interviewing moms because I figured mom is the heart of the family, and asking moms what were their pain points, what were their issues, and trying to find something that was solvable with a business. And one thing that came up over and over again that really struck a chord with me was that it's really difficult to take time for yourself as a mom, and particularly to do certain things that you need to do to take care of yourself. And one of them was exercise. And that was a big hobby of mine. It's not what I studied in college, but I taught kickboxing, and I just love fitness classes, and was like, so that struck a chord with me. And I thought, well, let's solve this, because if anyone deserves some me time and needs the mental and physical benefits of exercise, it's moms. So that was about 3.5, 4 years ago that idea took place. And so ever since, we've been kind of validating it and working with focus groups, and then launching it small and growing it. And we still have one location, but hopefully we'll have plans before too long to open up more, because it's been well received and highly in demand by all the moms that have tried it and had it bless their lives.
Good for you. And Megan, I'm going to invite you to toot your horn a little bit. So tell us where you started. You started just with an idea, but tell us where you are now. Like, how many moms are coming, and yeah, tell us a little bit more about what it looks like now and how many instructors you have, and let's hear some of that kind of stuff.
Well, I'll start by saying it's not as far along or as big as my big dreams and plans when I first launched, but I
That's
learned that's normal.
okay. You made something out of an idea. It didn't exist 4 years ago. It wasn't even around. Like,
Thank
it's
you.
amazing.
I'm learning everything takes longer. It takes more time and more money and more effort than you think it's going to take, and that's normal for entrepreneurship. So I'm learning to swallow that. But right now we have about 100 families, so 100 moms, and probably close to about 150 kids.
That's awesome.
Thanks. We started out with like 1 class hour a day, and now we have Now we have 4 class hours a day. All of our classes are in the mornings. We sublease from a dance studio right now in our locations. It's been a great way to start up keeping the costs low. We didn't have to get into our own building with a 5-year lease. But we're hoping to be ready before long to have our very own building and to have classes all throughout the day. And that would be pretty awesome. And we're getting to the point where we think that we can take that on without it being a big risk. So that's a big step.
So Megan, I know a little bit about your model and what makes Cahoots Fitness different, but for someone who's never heard of it, tell us kind of what sets you apart from kind of the big chain gyms or other options for moms.
Yeah, our mission is developing kids and replenishing moms. And the idea why it's different from all the other gyms is because our focus is on the kids ages 5 and under just as much as on the mom's fitness. And they have their own classes that they go to. We've developed our own proprietary curriculum. We call the class Movement Preschool for the 2 to 5-year-olds, and we call the class Baby Steps for the kids under 2. And they have trained instructors who are doing gymnastics and sports and yoga and teaching them a healthy theme every week, like strong muscles, eating healthy, your heart and lungs, healthy emotions. That's one of my favorite themes, actually. And so they are doing something very productive and fun and educational while moms are working out. So it's a win-win, no guilt involved. It's great.
That's so awesome. I love it. Because a lot of gyms, so I don't live near you. Otherwise, I'd totally want to sign up for this. But I'm about an hour plus away. But anyway, so I just go to the gym that's 2 minutes from my house. But when they go in there, my kids have a good time, but it's just free play. Like they don't have any instruction. So what you've put together, that sounds really appealing to me. And I'm like totally your target market, but
thank you.
My kids are those ages. So that's so cool. I love it.
Thanks. Hopefully we'll expand up to you before long. We're working on it.
And that actually is a perfect segue into this next question. So at the Mama Ladder, we really believe like in just taking one step at a time, like go at your own pace and take those steps. So tell us a little bit about when you got started and some of the first steps that you took.
Yeah, it feels like such a long time ago. It's only three or 4 years ago, but a lot happens in 3 to 4 years when you're starting up a business. A lot of little steps.
And you became a mom during that time too. Like
yes, I did. Actually,
all at the same time. Yeah.
About 6 months into it, so a lot has happened. So one of the biggest pieces of advice that I give to people who are wanting to start a business is to start as small as you can and with as little money as you can, and build it from there so that you're not dumping a ton of risk into it. And so that's what we did. We found a studio that would let us sublease for 1 class hour in the mornings. I basically sent invitations out to all my mom friends to participate in a trial run, which they had to pay to participate in the trial run, because pricing is always a really hard thing for any business to figure out. And you can ask customers what they pay as much as you want, and it doesn't help a ton until people actually give you the money, because people will say one thing and do another thing. So they had to pay to participate in this test run. We found a few fitness instructors to hire, and then we actually worked with BYU and their exercise and wellness major department to recruit interns to teach the children's classes. And I started working with these interns, and they and I wrote the first round of curriculum. And our children's curriculum has gone through many, many drafts since that point. But that's how we started small. And we found that actually a lot of the ways that we formulated the children's curriculum, like from the beginning, for an example, we had each day had a different theme. Like Tuesday was soccer, and Wednesday was gymnastics, and Thursday was dance. And we found some issues with that. The boys didn't want to come to dance day, but if moms want to work out on Thursday, then they have to fight their boys to come to dance day. So we revamped things so that there's a little bit of everything in every day. And it's also something we don't have to communicate. Moms just know they're dropping their child off at preschool. We tell them the theme of the week, like strong muscles, but they don't need to tell their kids about like if we're dancing or doing gymnastics or yoga or whatnot. So little things like that we learned over time. You just have to start small, try it, get some actual customers, make some mistakes and then fix them and go from there.
Ooh, you said one of my favorite words, which is mistakes. I'm really learning to embrace mistakes. And I've been writing about this, like sharing blog posts, and like I'm really trying to help moms know that mistakes are okay and they're even good in business. So I want to hear more from you about your relationship with mistakes and how they've helped you, or I want to hear that from you.
Yeah, I think I think I have a little bit of perfectionism in me. Anyone who knows me probably just laughed that I said a little bit of perfectionism. So that's a thing I have to battle, is because I want to do everything right. I want to do everything fast and efficiently. And I don't want to make anyone upset. I don't want to do wrong by anyone or hurt any feelings. And it's you can't do all those things. And you know, I guess just getting in there and doing it and making the mistakes helps you start realizing that, you know what, this is hard, and I'm gonna have to give myself some more leash. And so this is my long way of saying that I'm not perfect at saying like, yay, I made a mistake. But I make plenty of them, and I'm starting now to just realize, okay, now that I can look back and see 100 that I've made, realizing, okay, we actually picked back up the ball and kept moving, and it was okay, even though I made a mistake. And like you said, even some of the mistakes help you learn and make a really important change. And so not getting crippled by those mistakes and learning to keep moving forward. And we're human. It's going to happen.
So the way you described yourself, first of all, thank you for being vulnerable, but I'm so similar to you, Megan. I mean, by profession, I'm a writer and an editor. And so, I mean, literally, like I'm paid to like put in the commas and like polish it off and make it like as perfect as possible. And so it's really like, I've had to really fight against my own personality, like my whole life to come to this conclusion. But I guess for me, I finally realized like, if I hold myself back with the standard of perfection, I will never accomplish my dreams. It just won't happen because I'm not perfect, and there's always going to be something I do wrong. And so I don't know, it just some point I just realized how important that is. And I think there are a lot of moms like us out there who are ambitious and talented and smart, but are held back by perfectionism. And I heard this quote, sorry, I'll get off this topic really quickly here, but I heard this quote, or I read it recently, and it really struck me. It said, and I'm sorry, I don't remember the source, but it said, perfectionism is the highest form of self-abuse.
Mm.
And I know that sounds kind of extreme, but I'm like, that's so true. Like I allow my other people in my life to make mistakes, and I'm like, oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
But if I don't do that for me, and I hold myself to this standard that's like totally impossible, I'm like, that's not fair to me. So anyways.
Yeah. No, I like that. And I wish I was someone who could just do quotes and attribute them to the proper person.
There's a mistake right there.
Someone said something to the effect of, people who don't make mistakes aren't doing anything. And it's true that people who are changing the world and making a difference and creating things are making lots of mistakes. And that actually helps me and if you look out and talk to any business owner, a small one or even big businesses, talk to the people who launched your favorite big businesses. They have tons of big mistake stories under their belts in getting those now very successful businesses off of the ground. And it gives me hope that like, oh, it's fine, and it happens, and it's all just par for the course. Keep going.
Good for you. Cool. So let's talk about your education. You mentioned your MBA. So awesome. So let's hear from you. What are some of the kind of big themes or big takeaways that I know that it was this 2-year experience, so it's hard to put it in just a paragraph, but I'd love to hear some of the big takeaways for you, like new realizations. And then this is a 2-part question. I also want to hear, because not everyone out there, not every mom has an MBA. So what are your thoughts on, is that a prerequisite to be a business owner?
Yeah. Let's start with, so I highly recommend getting an MBA if that is in the cards for you and if it's possible, because of just the breadth of possibilities that it opens up, and the breadth of exposure and knowledge and contacts that it gives you. It's fun. You meet a lot of great people. You work on great projects and case work that is just interesting and very applicable in real life. That's one thing that I love about MBA versus other graduate degrees for me, is that I did not like the idea of having to do a thesis. Bless all those who do theses.
Me, right here.
Well, bless you. Yeah. With MBA, it's all just very practical, like let's work on business stuff. And that's more up my alley, way more up my alley. Also, you just meet a lot of great people. And honestly, that's one of the most valuable takeaways from the MBA, is that now as I'm working on a business, I very rarely go back to textbooks or class notes to figure out how do I solve this problem. But I do often get in touch with classmates or former professors and say, you're an expert in this. I am not good at this. Help, I'm stuck. And that is very valuable. Your second question, though, I would say that, it's got to be a very small percentage of entrepreneurs and business owners who have an MBA. You don't need an MBA to start a business. And I actually we like to joke that I've gotten a whole nother MBA over again, just in the experience of launching my business, and learned all kinds of things in launching the business that I wasn't taught in the MBA program. And so it's the school of hard knocks. It's wonderful if you can do an MBA, but it's absolutely not a prerequisite for starting a business.
Well, those were both great answers. And I'm glad that you can see that it's see the value in it, but see that there's also so much learning, like just doing it. And so you don't have to, I'm talking to the moms out there, like you don't have to feel like you have to have that piece of paper in order to just to try to put yourself out there. But if you can, if it works for you, that's great. And honestly, we're looking to fill some of those gaps for you, so that if you have 4 kids and you can't take 2 years off to go back to school, we're looking to help fill some of those gaps for you that are helping you just get some resources. So that's part of our mission at the Mama Ladder. So.
And actually, can I throw out 2 other big takeaways I got from the MBA experience?
Yeah, please do.
2 of the main things I learned, actually, maybe I'll just say one of them, is that I will never know how to do everything, and I certainly won't be an expert on everything. And so an important skill set that you need as an entrepreneur is to look for people who are smarter than you and who do know how to do things that you don't know how to do. You either have to, every issue you come up with, whether it's paying taxes or recruiting or actually developing your product, whatever it is, you either have to do it yourself or you have to find somebody else who can or who knows how to. And so it's wonderful to be able to say, you know what, this is not my strength and I need to find somebody who it is their strength and work with them.
That's a great takeaway. Thank you. So well said. Okay, so with that, what's your favorite part of being a business owner, Megan?
2 favorite parts. One is the people that I meet through it. I've made so many wonderful friends through Cahoots. And this is a mom business, and where our clients are moms, and so they are my peers and friends anyway. And there's 100 of them, like I said. So it's extra prone. Not all businesses, I realize, lead to that many contacts or friends, especially if you're doing an online business or something like that. But even, the closest friends I've made are those that are my business partners or employees and that I work with on a regular basis. Wonderful women that I've met and that work with and are just good friends who I really cherish and pray for regularly and love them and their families. So that's my favorite part, along with just having something that is like my creation and seeing where it's come from and how it blesses people's lives. I love we get a fair amount of feedback on Google or comments and surveys or even just emails sent to us saying like, Cahoots has changed my life as a mom. Sounds like that's a phrase we hear frequently. The Cahoots has changed my life.
That's so awesome.
So that is very rewarding.
Oh, that's wonderful. So what would you say is the hardest part of running a business?
It's actually maybe the same thing. It's the two-edged sword, which is other people that I get to work with, right? Because I get my best friends out of there, but there's also going to be people in the mix in those 100 people. And we work with probably, right now I have about 25 employees or contractors who are all very part-time that play some instructing, marketing, managing role in Cahoots. And that's a lot of people to follow up with and train and replace when they leave. And make sure we're all on the same page. And that gets very time consuming and it can be fairly frustrating. And it can be awkward when there's a tense situation or unpleasant feedback that needs to be given, or we need to cut someone from the team. But none of that's the fun stuff.
So it sounds like you've had to do that before. You've had to, yeah.
Yeah, and anybody who works with employees is gonna have to do that, and that's nobody's favorite part.
Yeah, true. Okay, so this is kind of the same topic, but how have you built your team?
Yeah, so I'm still learning how to build a team. I feel like that's actually one of the big challenges I've been facing right now is like we have a couple roles that need to be filled that it's hard to get good people in the right seat on the bus, if you've heard that analogy before.
Yeah.
That's a challenge that I don't know that anybody ever perfectly solves. That's why HR is a profession in and of itself, is trying to figure out getting the right people hired and trained and doing their jobs. It started small, and actually I look at the key team members that I'm working with right now, and none of them were there at the very beginning. They all kind of came to me actually as they were lovers of what we were offering. One of them came to me as an instructor and then became kind of a partner, and then now is the head of the children's programming. One of them was an intern from BYU teaching the children's classes, and she did a wonderful job, and we've hired her for office manager. Another one of them was a customer to start with, and she's been so gung-ho that she is head of our marketing now. And so you want to work with people who are passionate about what you're doing, whether they come to you as a customer or they come to you saying, hey, I want to work with you because I think it's cool. You need to look for people who are really excited about the mission of your company. And I think it's also really important to look for people that to only hire or partner with people that you enjoy working with. So you're going to spend a lot of time with them. You're going to work through a lot of really difficult challenges and decisions that need to be made together. And if it's someone that you're working with very mildly on the side, then and they have skills you need, that's one thing. But even if they have great skills and you're like, I need this person, but we're going to butt heads, don't do it. Don't do it, because you need to just love the people that you're going to be spending hours working with every day.
That's really good advice. And yeah, that's just so true. Like that you do spend a lot of time with them. And that kind of leads to my next question. I'm curious, what does kind of your typical day look like, or your typical week? How do you kind of structure your time?
That has been one of my biggest challenges since introducing children into my life. Well, and as every time you introduce another child into your life, you have to figure it out all over again. And I only have 2. How do moms do it with 6 kids? I don't know. Right now, I'm just figuring out 2. But it's taken iteration after iteration after iteration of trying to figure out my schedule. And for a long time, I was trying to work at home with kids and just balance nap times or whatever, and I'll work while they nap, and then they don't nap. And then when do you work that day? And then you don't like working and you don't like being a mom because it's all overwhelming you. So this summer, I think I got into a pretty good rhythm. For what we did this summer is that we would go to Cahoots in the morning. That's one benefit for having this. I wanted to build a business that I could bring my kids with me to. So they come in the morning with me, and I'll do a workout class, and they go to class. And then we'll do a second one where the kids do a second workout or second movement preschool class. Cool. And I will work for an hour or talk with the staff and work out whatever on-site things need to be done. We come home, we do lunch, we'll do some kind of play activity, reading stories, puzzles or something. And then I've started carving out just a few hours a day that I have someone watch my kids, and I work for 3 hours is what we've been doing this summer. So 3 hours a day I'll work focused while my kids are at a neighbor's house, or I have a family member come over and watch them, or however you can arrange that. And then I try to have really, after those 3 hours are done, we have mom time where we focus on some kind of, we do an outing, we do an educational activity, we paint fingernails, we do something all together. This is my mommy manicure.
I love it. That's awesome. That sounds great.
And then it's dinner, and a lot of times in the evening, my husband's super supportive. I am very blessed in that way. And so I'll often put in an hour or two of working in the evening while he's a champion at putting kids to bed. I know a lot of moms don't have that luxury of having a partner that will put kids to bed, but and I don't work every evening because we do a lot of social things, and there's a lot of Cahoots social activities in the evenings as well, so that's not necessarily focused work time. And I get to bed, I'm a person who needs 8 hours of sleep. I always think, how much could I get done in the world if I only had to sleep for 5 hours? And I'm not one of those people. I have to get to bed pretty early, especially if I want to wake up early, which is what I've been trying to do lately, to have a little bit of kind of quiet, ponder reading time that's not like waking up to kids and going to bed right after kids do, because that makes me go crazy. Anyway, that was probably the really long answer to your question.
No, that was awesome. That was awesome. And that's so how it is. Like, it's just trying to figure out what works. And it sounds like you've got a pretty good cadence going this summer.
And now that we've hit fall, and there's actually going to be a different schedule at Cahoots in the fall, and the people who are helping with my children are going to have a different schedule, we're going to throw it up in the air a little bit and kind of have to start over, figuring it out over again. And I think that's how mom life works, is like, once you nail down nap time, the nap time shifts and other schedules shift. So that's what we deal with anyway.
Oh, I hear you. Well, yeah, I hear you on that. So very cool. Very cool. And how fun that you get to enjoy, and your kids too, you get to enjoy your creation. You get to participate in it. And that's so awesome. I just love what you're doing. So let's talk a little bit. I want to hear from you about why fitness is so important for moms and their kids.
I just think, so there's so many dimensions. We could talk for the whole 40 minutes just about that one, so it's hard to sum it up. But first and foremost is just mentally, especially in this mom stage that we're in, is that women need time to themselves, where they don't have someone pulling on their leg or demanding a snack or crying over you don't know what. You need time on your own, and you need time with your own thoughts, with your own mind, and to focus on your own needs. That's one thing I've actually been spending a lot of time thinking about lately, is that I even with Cahoots, where I get to take that hour and work out, I still, for me and my physical, emotional, spiritual needs, I don't think I'm taking enough time to take care of my body and my spirit as much as they need to be, to reach out and have the energy and the mental wherewithal to take care of everybody that I want to. And learning that it's okay to make that top priority so that you can take care of other people. So, and exercise helps you do that both mentally and physically, because it gives you more energy. It helps you love your body more and feel like you are taking care of yourself, as well as giving you the endorphins and the clarity of mind that you need. Emotionally, it's just, all the time we'll have moms tell us that, like, I need this time to myself, and when Cahoots is closed or the kids are sick so they can't come to Cahoots or whatever, it makes a big difference in their general happiness level.
That's so cool. You can help them with that. And like you, I'm very passionate about taking care of my body. That for me, I mean, it's just a whole, I mean, it's such a big part of like overall happiness and health, but I literally find like that's like kind of my secret sauce for how I'm able to do business. Like, I have people asking me like, how are you doing this with little kids? And like, if I didn't exercise, I literally couldn't do it. I wouldn't have the energy. I wouldn't. So I love what you're doing. And I've also found that for me, again, if I lived by you, I would so be a customer. But I just found for me that it fuels me for the rest of the day. I call my exercise my first victory of the day. I always try to exercise. I try to do it before 10. Sometimes it doesn't happen until noon, but as long as I do that, I feel like I've accomplished something in the day, and that helps me keep going and do something else. And so
I will say there was a period of time in which every day when I'd go to Cahoots, there were plenty of issues that needed to be addressed and things I needed to talk to the office manager about or whatever. And I was only getting in little slivers of workouts. I wasn't making it into class, and was realizing like, hey, we're not making enough money from this business yet for me to like say I'm making money at it. My perk right now is that I get to exercise workouts for myself. It's now like the whole team knows that I will help you as much as I can when I'm not in class, but Megan gets an hour of workout and I need that to be able to tackle everything else.
Good for you. Having that, like, letting them know that's what you expect. Very, very cool. Well, we are just about to our time. We've got about 2 or 3 minutes left. So I want to ask you, is there a business book or any book really that you think that all moms starting a business need to read?
So I will confess that I'm not as big of a reader as I wish I was. I think every year I set a New Year's resolution to start reading more. and I'm slowly starting to pick that up a little bit more. There was a book in my MBA program that they required all of the entrepreneurship students to read, which was called Nail It, Then Scale It.
Oh.
Written by some of the BYU professors. And it's a really good one for teaching you how you have to get it small and nail that business model before you scale it and try to go big. So I actually don't know how readily available that book is. Surely it's on Amazon. But Nail It, Then Scale It is the title of that one.
Cool. That sounds like a great concept to understand, though. Very cool. Well, what would be kind of your last thoughts or something that you would want to say to our mama friends out there who are either just getting started or they're wanting to grow? What would you want to say to help encourage them?
Yeah. So I would say that I think anyone who has a strong work ethic and a passion for what you want to do and if you're willing to work with other people that have skill sets that you don't, then you can figure out any problem. You will be faced with all kinds of questions and challenges and taxes or whatever that you're like, I have no idea how to do that. And that's totally normal. But so if you can be the person that says, okay, let's either find a person who can do it or learn ourselves how to do it, then you can pull it off. Probably one of my big advices would be to make sure that it doesn't take over your life as you get into it. Especially if you have a business like mine, where you have all these people who are counting on you now as your clients. You can't just say, I'm pretty overwhelmed this week. I'm not going to do it anymore. Like that would be a big decision. You kind of get locked into it. So the important thing I'm learning is to set boundaries, and I am not good at this because I like working. I'm fueled by working, and I'm very driven to get things done well and on time. And it's been a big challenge for me to set up boundaries and not let it creep too much into my family life more than I want it to. So every week I have to kind of sit down and reevaluate with myself. Am I in a good balance? Am I happy with the amount of time I'm spending with my kids? Am I happy with the amount of time I'm spending on work? And if I'm not, what are we going to change about it? And you just have to be prepared to reevaluate that regularly all the time. And it is a big challenge that feels like it's really hard to stay on top of. So just being mentally prepared for that.
Very cool. Thank you so much. Thank you. So we'll be sharing the links to Cahoots Fitness with this interview, and yeah, so please check out Megan's website, Cahoots Fitness, and find them on Instagram and Facebook. And let's encourage our mama friend Megan. And thank you so much. And we just wish you all the best with continuing to grow and bless more families and more moms. So
Thanks, Chrisley.